Hello, my name is Joe LaPlaca. I'm the Senior Director of the Cardi Gallery in London. I'd like to welcome you to the first solo exhibition of Davide Balliano here in the United Kingdom. The show spans over 3 floors of the gallery and is created in dialogue with the building.
My work, I feel there is kind of an evolution, an inside evolution of itself. There is a process of continued discovery of the painting. There is a first feeling from when you see it from far away, and then it keeps changing, it keeps getting deeper. I did study photography, so I do feel that that's kind of where everything comes from, let's say. My bridge is definitely something that can be connected with my work. I feel that I share with him this almost utopic desire of slowing down time, trying to kind of break it down in little portions, and then it's a feeling of control, no? That is probably connected with our desires of having control of this big nature that is completely overpowering us. Even if painting is a completely different media, I still find often myself thinking of the work in terms of framing and lighting. Generally speaking, the composition of my paintings is never contained by the frame of the painting. You got to take a portion of time, space, reality, and add your view and your vision to it. I'm very much against the straightforward interpretation of my work. I like to have a work that is very open to interpretation, that is very open to personal readings. I love the scale of a large painting. I install them as low as possible because I want you to have this physicality. But for me, these minute details are really important because I hope that they kind of drag you in. I work and I paint mainly with plaster and gesso, so there is a strong connection with architecture. I feel that my paintings often feel like wall surfaces. Technically speaking, is a strange mix of digital and all analogic, all hand-on execution. I draw actually in Photoshop. Once I'm convinced and settled with the composition of a painting, then I make a technical drawing, so that allows me then to have this plan that then is executed fully by hand. There is no printing, there is no masking, there is nothing. And all the details are made scraping off the white on top of the black. All these kind of abrasions of the surface are really what give life to the paintings, in my opinion. And the drippings are the only part that is done vertically. I make all my paintings horizontally on a table. Once everything else is done, I bring them up, and essentially I fill certain portion of the painting with plaster, and spraying water over those portion of plaster, I get these drippings, which for me grew to be very relevant because I really feel it connected with, I don't know, with ruins, with a sense of erosion that time makes. It's a process of excavation. As many Italians, I grow up surrounded by ruins, and I always love how ruins, they don't have any function anymore, rather than making us think of the passing of time and the circular lives of societies. And I always felt that I would have liked to have that in my paintings. Plaster is a great material to allow me to do that. For the past 10 years, I've been mainly painting in black and white, or at least I should say that I'm aware that my work is perceived in black and white, but I feel them far more as a matter of light and dark. But just in the past year, I became a father, so I had this big change in all the details of my everyday life, and And that kind of regrounded, let's say, my work in this overwhelming awe, essentially for the power of nature, which I'm always really aware that it's ginormously more powerful than us. This choice of the red, we can connect it to blood, and as not in a violent way, but actually in a very life-filled way. It's this idea of like flowing and this movement, and questo movimento oscillatorio, which I always connect with this uncontrollable rhythm of time and life. Think of breathing, think of heartbeats, like all these are like repeated rhythms that give us life. And with the color, I think that we kind of reintroduce the presence of nature, of body, of physicality in a work that otherwise is very geometric and very abstract. This specific work, I think, that is a good example of how the internal composition is kind of broken up by this breaking of the pattern. What I find exciting in my own evolution is that I keep noticing how my work craves patterns, but it also periodically craves for this kind of interruption in that system. And if you think of it as a music composition, there are this sudden change in the tempo of the harmony, and it interferes, but then it gets kind of absorbed by the composition and it comes home. I really often use the analogy of muscle growth. So you push a muscle, and a muscle grows out of crisis, grows out of internal breaking. And that growth brings in strength, brings in added force to what it was before. If I can achieve a composition that I managed to have a feeling of balance, of harmony, I do believe that if you manage that, you achieve meaning.